Ladies and gentlemen, crowd, very mixed crowd here today, which is quite great. The last conference I went to that was crypto-based had a huge turnout of 30-year-old blokes in hoodies, and I'm looking around the crowd now, and there's a couple of them, but it's a huge crowd. My name's Drew Bradford, and I'm the chair of the CloudTech Group. Today we're going to talk about the future of banking and what a blockchain bank looks like. What's a digital bank? So picture this, I'm a small business and my supplies from my supplier come to my front door and a chip in those goods say that they have been delivered and a smart contract sends the fees, my payment straight to the supplier. No credit risk, no timeliness mismatch. As soon as the goods are delivered, the money leaves my bank account and delivered straight to theirs. Proof of transaction. Picture this again. My 21-year-old son who's backpacking around the States at the moment says, "Dad, I've run out of money. It's Sunday afternoon." I just go to my app, swatch AUDU, Australian Dollar Stablecoin, I switch it to USDT, deliver it straight into his wallet. No worry about banking hours, no worries about Sunday afternoon, no worries about huge fees, straight to his wallet. So I'm the treasurer of JP Morgan. I'm sitting in New York and I've got to move $1 billion worth of bonds to London. How do I do that now? I can just, if they're on chain, I can send $1 billion worth of bonds straight to our London subsidiary and they can use them as collateral. This is not science fiction. This is starting to happen today. And we're going to build this with the CloudTech Group. The next 10 years in our world, we are lucky to be living through this. The next 10 years, with combination of AI and blockchain, the whole world's going to change. Not just banking, but finance is going to be completely rebuilt. You think about the inefficiencies of those transactions that I just talked about at the moment. We're in an environment that if I want to send money to someone overseas where it's Sunday afternoon, I can't do it. I can't get it to their bank account at the moment. Banks aren't open. If you want to do the foreign exchange transaction, I spent my bulk of my career in traditional financial markets businesses all around the world. The fastest we could do a foreign exchange transaction, take Aussie dollars, convert them into pounds, was 5 hours during Swift. Using Swift, 5 hours was the fastest we can do it. On chain, you can do it in seconds. The slowest we moved money from switching from an Australian dollar stablecoin into a sterling was the coin we used, was 45 seconds was the slowest transaction. These are coming. You think about moving, you think about just the deposit market at the moment. It's still done, bank deposits, and the whole Australian banking industry lives off banks' deposits. Everyone who's got a home loan, the source of that funds is the huge deposit market in Australia. It's $2.5 trillion. It gets done on the phone. It gets done not quite with faxes, but nearly still with faxes. It's emails. The world currently is so inefficient, the way we move money around, the way we moved financial assets around. So at CloudTech, we're rebuilding this and we're going to rebuild a blockchain bank. And we're going to build that based on 4 key pillars. Those key pillars are spend, stablecoins. Their store, our digital custody business. Swap, Cobweb Pay, our exchange business, and we will use that to swap digital assets. And save. Spend, swap, store, and save. Saving is our asset management business, and more assets will be tokenized going forward. So I want to take you through each of those areas that we're building out. Firstly, the core of what we're doing is an Australian dollar stablecoin. Now, I talked about money moving around before. Right now, in stablecoins, trades about $50 billion a day, which is quite a lot. Just the global foreign exchange market not the payments market as a whole, but just the global foreign exchange market trades $7.5 trillion a day. So while stablecoin turnover at 50 billion sounds big, it's tiny compared to what the growth of the whole foreign exchange market is and the whole payments. It's a small slither. And right now, stablecoin turnover, 98% of that turnover is US dollars. And the balance is, a little bit of euro and a very small amount of Aussie dollars. The future of the stablecoin market will look a lot more like the foreign exchange market. And in that foreign exchange market, the Aussie dollar makes up about 6% of the turnover, which is way higher than, we're 2% of the world's GDP, but the Australian dollar is about 6% of the world's foreign exchange turnover. The combination of AI and blockchain is going to be huge. Computers will talk to computers. We will be pulling our phone out of our pocket and we'll be saying, book this travel, do this, pay for this, all on your phone. Bots will do the transacting, and bots need digital currencies. They need stable coins. And that's why the future, as we do more and more stuff with artificial intelligence and computers are talking to computers, that will build out the need and the use of stable coins. And the Aussie dollar will become a huge percentage of that market as we are in the fiat market. So that's why the core of what we're doing at CloudTech is building around our Australian dollar stablecoin, AUDU. Fortunately, like a lot of people in this here, we are waiting for ASIC to giving our license, so we should have that very shortly, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Our second step, our second pillar that we're building on is store, our custody. We are a licensed custodian, so we have a custody capability for digital assets. There's an old saying, not your keys, not your crypto. Everyone gets that, but you don't keep all your money in a mattress under your bed. So you keep a bit of money in your ledger, a bit of your tokenized assets, but we're going to need an ability, and the same way where you store money, the world is going to need, Australia is going to need a place where you store digital assets. We fundamentally view at CloudTech that more and more assets will be tokenized. There'll be a time in the future where your house is tokenized. There'll be no more land title searches. Your title for your house will be an NFT. It'll have your address, it'll have your ownership, and when you transact your house, you will just sell the NFT. It'll be a very simple transaction, no conveyancing, no process. Here it is, I have title on an immutable NFT, I can sell that title. Cars will be tokenized. You want a place to store those tokenized assets, a safe place. So we're building out the custody business where you will be able to store all your tokenized assets. And picture this, if you're at a bank today and you want to borrow money, if you've got a house and a mortgage, you get a rate, 6-point-something%. If you want to borrow against equities, you can't borrow 90% like you can against a house. You're paying 10, 11% on a margin loan, and you can borrow 50% of the equities. If you want to borrow, against goods and inventory in your business, you're paying about 15%. And if you're a small business and you want to borrow unsecured, you've got to go to Prosper and you're paying about 20% for that money. If you've got all your assets tokenized and you can use all your assets as collateral, could be your car, could be your house, could be a painting, could be a wine collection. If it's tokenized and on an NFT and someone can hold that as collateral, you'll be able to borrow money at the same rate you can borrow against a mortgage. People will do that because they own your asset and it's custody. So we will have that capability as we build out our custody business. Third pillar of CloudTech is our swap. We've got Cobweb Pay now, so we have an exchange for digital assets. But think about the future. Once all assets are tokenized, you will have a marketplace for those assets and title for those assets. Right now, if you're an unlisted company, like CloudTech. You have shares in CloudTech. There is no marketplace for that. Once the assets of things are tokenized, you can create a marketplace for all your assets. Tokenized unit trusts, tokenized wine. Speaking of which, there will be tokenized wine at about 3 p.m. Devin are doing a show at one of the lounges down there. If you want to see chips tokenized and real-world applications for tokenized chips in the supply chain, go and see the Real Vision thing at about 3 p.m. Down in one of the things. It's a real application. This stuff is happening now. And you've got a marketplace. So building out an exchange where all tokenized assets can be transacted is going to be a key going forward. It'll create liquidity. Once you've got liquidity in assets, you don't have that big wide bid offer. You've got a narrow bid offer, and you can use these assets as collateral. So that's our fourth pillar of third pillar of what we're doing. Our fourth pillar is save. You guys are converts, that's why you're here. But what a lot of people don't realise, that if you look over the last 12, 13 years, while Bitcoin is around, it has been the best performing asset in 9 of those 12 years. More and more people will look at blockchain as Bitcoin as not only Satoshi's original idea of making payments, but as a store of wealth. As we move from the analog era to the digital era, you can see the path, put this path forward where gold, which is a historic analog store of wealth, gets in people's minds into a digital store of wealth. Bitcoin appears to have won that battle, but then it will become collateral. You can store your Bitcoin with us in our custody business. You'll be able to borrow against it. But people need to grow their wealth, and we've got a collaboration with an asset manager. We've got our own MIS, and we're building out our capability in the digital asset management capability. So that's going to be crucial going forward, that people recognise the value of blockchain and how that is going to change how they not only store their wealth, but grow their wealth. And we're seeing that, and more people will start transacting on digital assets. Those fees on Ethereum, the fees on Solana will start going up as people do more and more on-chain transactions. Tokenized cars, tokenized houses, tokenized assets will use the superhighways of Solana, of Ethereum, of Red Belly. I think Red Belly, an Australian chain, is talking later today, Alan Burt. So that was developed by Sydney Uni specifically for tokenization of real-world assets. More and more of our assets will be on-chain. So what are the next steps? What's the road ahead? The road ahead is a digital bank. We've all seen the inefficiencies of the current banking system, as I talked about earlier, just moving money around the world. You're paying huge fees every time you transact. If I want to send money to my other son who's in London, who also rings up and says, can I have some money? I've got to send it from my NAB account. NAB's correspondent banker in the UK is NatWest, so it goes from NAB to NatWest. My son banks with Lloyds. NatWest then sends the money to Lloyds, then it goes into his bank account. And if I miss the 3 p.m. cutoff here, and it's Friday, hey, guess what? He doesn't get it till Tuesday or Wednesday the following week. That has all got to change. You can do it AUDU, Aussie Stablecoin, Sterling Stablecoin, instantaneously. Not quite. 30, 40 seconds. Boom. That is going to come. That's the road ahead. We're building that out at CloudTech, block by block. So if you want to come down and see our booth, we're about halfway down in the middle. Our team down there can take you through each of those things: spend, store, swap, and save. And that's the future. It will be the future of banking. The next 5 years is going to be absolutely amazing. And we're going to look back at this, the time as the world adopts not only blockchain, it adopts artificial intelligence. we're very lucky to be alive, and it's going to be fun next 5, 10 years. So thank you very much.